Hello, welcome to a warm, inviting class where we'll unwind, we'll get ready for the evening, and hopefully this becomes a part of your bedtime routine. It's a great way to de-stress after a work day or ease tired muscles if they've been used quite a bit in the day. So since this is a restorative class, the goal is to wind down, release tension in the body, ease the mind, ease the muscles. I suggest that you pause this video and grab some props to help your restorative flow. I have a blanket with me, and I also have 2 larger pillows. If you have blocks, feel free to bring those in. If you have towels that you want to roll up and utilize, feel free to grab all of the props, because every single pose tonight will be a restorative pose. So you can feel free to add in any props that you're feeling you need, or take away any props that maybe you don't need. Let's go ahead and get started in child's pose. You can bring your knees as wide as you like, and go ahead and sit back towards your heels. This will be an active child's pose. I have to adjust my mic really quick. Active meaning your hands are outstretched in front of you, even though your forehead and third eye are massaging against the mat. Reaching through the fingertips so that we can feel that pull all the way down our spine, all the way through our lower back. My head's slightly off the mat, but that is due to microphone issues. We'll go ahead and take an inhale through the nose here. Exhale through the mouth, side out. Again, inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. One more time, inhale through the nose. And this time, exhale through the nose. If you'd like to set an intention for this practice, now's the perfect time to do so. Your intention might be to connect mind and body, to decompress from the day, to feel that gratitude for your body for all the work that it's done throughout the day, whatever that may be for you. And we'll slowly begin to walk our hands towards the right side of our mat, maybe even off the mat, getting a stretch on the left side body, actively pulling towards the ground. And our goal today should be to breathe energy and life and lightness into the belly of all of our muscles. So wherever you're feeling the stretch, try to harness that energy with each inhale and exhale, and truly breathe it into the muscle that you're feeling. We'll do the same thing on the left side, walking our hands towards the left side of our mat, stretching our right side body. Breathing into all of those muscles. Eventually walking our hands back to center. Our hands will be planted underneath our shoulders. We'll find our first tabletop of the evening. Double check that palms are stacked under shoulders. Knees are directly under hips. Neck is in neutral spine. Imagine a line being drawn through the tip of your head all the way down to your tailbone. You want it as straight as possible, and just kind of feel this. I have my toes completely untucked so that I can truly feel my core and holding everything in place. And then we'll go into our first cat-cow of the evening. Remember, since this is restorative, kind of play around in these poses. Don't feel the need to stay too stagnant. So we'll begin to drop our belly towards the mat, starting with your tailbone, lifting the gaze up and opening up for cow. I like to rock back and forth. Some people like to make some hip circles. And then slowly tucking the tailbone, pressing the mat away, opening up the shoulder blades. You'll find your cat. You'll really tuck the chin in towards the chest. I'm not going as deeply again because of where my microphone's placed. I'm in my cozy clothes today, since this practice is a little bit more gentle. Inhaling, dropping those shoulders, releasing the belly, reversing, making a smiley face with your spine, lifting the gaze. Again, if you find movement here, totally okay. Exhaling to press the mat away, rounding the spine, opening up that back body. Find your cat, tucking the tailbone under. And then we'll bring it back to neutral, but we're going to do some hip circles if you didn't already. And just kind of opening up the hips a little bit, getting them ready to do some serious work. If you took it to the right, we'll swing it the opposite direction. Again, taking what you need from this practice, leaving behind anything that's not serving you. Come back to a neutral tabletop. This time, plant the weight into your left palm. We're going to do a little twist. Open up the right palm off of the mat, lifting it up towards the right side of the room, maybe even reaching towards the ceiling. We find our first twist of the evening. We'll exhale and sweep the right arm right behind your left, releasing your right cheek down to the mat, threading the needle. Now you can make this particular pose as active as you like. You have an option to stay here. You also have the option to reach your left arm forward in front of you, stretching through this even more. I keep my palm almost flexed on my right hand, making this super active through my right shoulder, arm, back. Remembering to breathe in every pose. That oxygen goes straight into the muscle. Option to keep your eyes closed during this practice if that serves you, or to have a soft gaze. Releasing any tension in the jaw, in the eyes. Bring your left palm back underneath your left shoulder. We'll press up through that palm, releasing your right arm back into the air, and eventually your right palm comes back down to the mat and tabletop. We'll do the same thing on the left side. Your weight shifts into your right hand. This time your left palm comes off of the mat and sweeps upwards towards the left side of the room or the ceiling. We'll sweep the left arm right behind your right arm, releasing your left cheek to the mat. Option to stay here, option to reach those right fingertips out in front of you. Remembering that each side of our body is completely different, so maybe what felt great on one side no longer serves us on the other. Breathing into our muscles. Reaching through those fingertips. Pulling at your right palm back underneath your right shoulder. Press through your right palm, releasing your left arm up back into the sky if it needs to. And your left palm meets the mat. Now we'll go ahead and find a seated position. And we'll put both of our legs out in front of us this time. Ooh, we'll do our first forward fold of the evening. Since it's our first one, the goal is not to have straight legs, but rather to feel this in the belly of our hamstrings. So if that means that your knees are bent, totally fine. If that means you even put a blanket underneath your knees to make this even more comfortable, also fine. Remember, this is your wind down, your restorative stretching. So you take what you need for your body to feel great. This can also stretch out your lower back. So play around with the movement here. Play around with the depth, where you grab. Maybe you grab shins, ankles, eventually feet. Maybe you play around with your back staying straight versus curved. Maybe you sway a bit from side to side, releasing that lower back as you sway. Remembering to breathe into those hamstrings. I like to keep the feet flexed just so that I can really feel the muscles activating. But this is your flow, so you know exactly what your body needs. Eventually wiggling those toes. We'll come back up to a seated position. Taking our time with it. We'll leave our right leg extended out in front of us. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. We'll do the same fold, but over just our right leg. Now, this is your opportunity to kind of play. Maybe you reach for the outside of your right foot and see how that feels a little bit different on your back. Do the same thing, but reach for the inside of your right foot. All of these things will give you a different stretch. Maybe you reach nose to knee. That's available to you. Maybe you stay on your forearms. Maybe you're back up here and you can still feel the stretch in the belly of your muscle. Again, the goal here is not necessarily the straight leg or to go as deep as possible. The goal is to feel this in your hamstring, not behind your knee, not underneath your butt. If you feel it there, you're doing too much. And breathing into the muscle. Releasing the hands back down to your mat, slowly walking back up to a seated position. We'll extend your left leg out to meet your right. This time, your right foot will meet the inside of your left thigh. And we'll slowly fold over that left leg. Again, both sides completely different. Maybe what felt great on one side no longer serves you, so play around with that and find and take what you need. Planting the hands back down on your mat, we'll walk to a seated position. Extend your right leg out to meet your left. I'm going to do some seated twists. You'll take your right foot and plant it on the outside of your left leg. Option to stay here for your twist. You'll take your left arm, bring it to the outside of your right leg, and then your right palm will reach towards the back of your mat. Now, before we twist, you also have the option to bring your left foot in towards your right hip. Whoops, there goes my mat. If that serves you. If that doesn't, leave it. Now, we're twisting with our chest. Our chest was facing forward. Now it should be facing the right side of the room. Your gaze can come to the right side or towards the back of the room past your right hand. I'm actively pressing through my left tricep into my right thigh. Really feel this twist. One more breath here. And slowly release the twist up top. Lengthen out your left leg, and then your right leg can stretch out in front of you to meet your left. Same thing on the left side. This time your left foot will meet the outside of your right thigh. Option to stay here for your twist. Option to curl the right toes in towards your left hip. Remember, your right tricep meets your left thigh, and your gaze can stay on the left side or towards the back of the room. You're twisting with your chest. Your chest stays high, your chest stays open. Breathing into all the muscles that it takes for a little pretzel like this. One more breath. And we'll release the twist up top. Slowly release the legs out in front of you. You need to do one more forward fold. Ooh, that feels so good. We'll go ahead and bring it back to a tabletop. Swinging the legs underneath you, the palms underneath. We'll find our puppy dog pose. If you haven't done this before, it is downward facing dog, but on your forearms. So your forearms meet the mat, they stay underneath your shoulders, and then we'll flip the toes and send the seat up and back for puppy dog pose. This is where the money is. Now your head, I'm just going to adjust this microphone really quick. Your head is down and relaxed, just like this. Due to microphone issues, mine is not going to be quite there yet. You can pedal out the feet here. Breathing into your calf muscles. First real calf stretch of the evening. Eventually finding stillness here. lifted. Come onto your palms into a plank position. Lift your right knee right directly behind your right wrist and call in your props here. We're going to go into a right side pigeon, a restorative pigeon. So I'm placing this blanket right underneath my right hip. Now you have the option to bring your right leg parallel to the front of your mat if that's accessible to you. If not, don't worry about it. This is restorative, so we just want to feel this stretch in our hips. Untuck your left toes so that your left leg is nice and long. You should feel this maybe in your left hip flexor. And if you want, you can even make this one step cozier by bringing in your pillow friend and releasing on down. I'm not going to go all the way down just because of my microphone, but breathing right into that right hip. My right foot is flexed. One more breath here. Gently come out of this pigeon pose by removing any props that you were using, planting the palms, untucking your left foot, pressing your hip up and off of the mat, removing any blankets or blocks, and then stepping it back into a plank. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So I'm bringing my left knee right directly behind my left wrist. I'm calling in my support, using a blanket this time, and I'll call back in my pillow friend because that was just cozy. Untucking my right toes, releasing on down to my forearms, keeping my left foot active. We find pigeon on the left side. Take one more breath. Again, slowly releasing, pressing into those palms, removing any of our props. Untucking your right toes to lift your left hip off of the mat in order to safely remove your props. Press back into a plank. And then a tabletop. We'll come to a seated position. And now you have the option here if you need to, butterfly out the hips or windshield wiper the knees after that pigeon. Now, I personally love this next part, but you can take it or leave it. It's your practice again. We're going to roll to a lying position. So I like to take my hands directly behind my hamstrings and just kind of roll out my spine after a long day. You can do this as many times as you want, as few times as you want. Eventually coming to a completely supine position. We're laying down and both feet are planted on your mat. I like to keep my palms down on the ground just for some grounding at the end of the day. Take your right foot, lift it off of the mat, and cross your right ankle over your left thigh for a supine figure 4 on the right side. You should feel this stretch in your right hip. If you're still not feeling it, you need a little bit more. You can take your hands and have them meet behind your left thigh. This allows you to bring it as close as you need to really get a good stretch in your right hip. If you were totally fine, you have the option to stay exactly where you were. Picture yourself breathing into that hip. Release the grasp of the hands if you have one. Release your right foot back down to the mat. Inhale to lift your left foot off of the mat, crossing your left ankle over your right thigh. Figure 4 on the left side. Same options are available if you want to take your hands to the back of your thigh. Breathing into your left hip now. Release your left foot back down to the mat. Windshield wiper the legs, letting them fall in tandem to the left and the right. Eventually lengthening both legs out in front of you. We'll tee the arms out to our sides and do our first supine twist. Inhale, drawing your right leg in towards the chest. Exhale, and I'm actually going to pause here and grab one of my little supports. I'm going to grab my blanket for this and place it on my left side. So now as I inhale, I'll take my right leg back in towards the chest. I'll exhale and place my right leg over onto that blanket for restorative supine twist. Option to keep the head neutral. Option to take your gaze over to the right side. back in towards the chest, extending your right leg out in front of you. Do the same thing on the left side, taking your support, placing it on the right side of you now. We'll inhale to bring your left leg in towards the chest. Exhale, twisting it over to the right side, placing it on your support if you have one. Gaze can come to the left side or stay neutral. Bring your left leg back in towards center and extend your left leg out in front of you. Arms can come back to your side. We'll inhale to bring both knees in towards the chest. We're going to find happy baby. Lifting the soles of your feet towards the ceiling. Your arms will come towards the inside of your thigh, but your hands will grab the outsides of your feet or ankles, depending on what your body needs. Now, this pose is called happy baby, so it's totally fine if you are feeling a smile or a playfulness in this position. Feel free to rock back and forth, extend one leg and then the other, make circles with your feet. Truly get playful in this position. It has the power to stretch and do so many different things depending on what your body needs. I love to kind of straighten my spine in this position. I also love to rock out my lower back in this position. There's no pressure, there's no right or wrong. It's just your own body's guide and intuition and what you're feeling that you need in this exact moment. Eventually finding stillness, maybe make some circles with the ankles, maybe at the knees. We'll bring our feet back down to our mat, and we'll find our last restorative Shavasana pose for the evening. I am going to make this extra cozy. I'm going to take one pillow under my head, one pillow under my knees. I'm going to take my blanket and just lay it out on top of me. Oh, it feels so good. Whew, I'm so cozy. Hopefully you're cozy as well. And as you lie here, maybe your gaze becomes soft. Maybe it goes inward. Just notice the rise and fall of your chest. We'll take one collective breath together in through the nose, out through the mouth. Thanking our bodies for all of the work that they've just done. Being so grateful for this movement. Feeling at ease and at peace with the work we've put in. Allowing our muscles to melt from all the tension they've released. If you're staying here, that's totally fine. But if you still have things to do, you can eventually roll over to your left side. So cozy. Pressing your way up to a seated position. The teacher in me acknowledges and recognizes and accepts the teacher in you. I'm so excited that you joined me for this restorative session. Thank you.